Hello friends, James Stevenson here with a video about Tesla Energy. Are profit margins going to get a lot better in the future? Yes, they are. This video is a command performance. Somebody requested that I do a reaction video reacting to a video published last week by Herbert Ong. He invited on two guests, Larry Goldberg and Matt Smith, who had differing opinions on that question, whether profit margins were going to go up a lot as time passes in the Tesla Energy division. Larry Goldberg believed, yes, they're going to go up by a whole lot, and Matt Smith believed, yes, they'll go up, but not by a whole lot. It's a 58-minute long video. I have clipped it down to only 4.5 minutes that I think are representative of the rising and falling action of this video, but please go watch the whole thing. Give Herbert some clicks as I check in with my co-host Loki, who is curled up in bed, snoozing, before I share with you this tweet from Matt Smith following the recording of this video. I highly recommend everyone watch Tesla Larry convert me to a Tesla Energy Uber Bull in real time. This is a much bigger deal than I had expected. Tesla Energy alone could be on track to deliver multiple dollars in EPS next year and return Tesla to growth. Big story, right? All right. So I'm going to play you part of this video, and I will head off your concern. No, I haven't turned into zero-sum game 33 or whoever that guy was that I had to make 4 or 5 videos about a year ago when he said, by the end of 2023, Tesla Energy margins will be 60%, right? No, that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about profit margins improving as Tesla is able to declare more deferred revenue over the life of selling megapacks to people. We join the action at the 22:09 mark in Herbert's video.
So that's one piece of it. That's simply contracts. There's no margin to be earned on that. That's how you recognize revenue against contract deliveries, and that's one of the reasons, by the way, that the gigawatt hours implemented this quarter is so high, because you've got a whole bunch of contracts coming to fruition.
And if I could just add, there's like a maintenance component of a lot of these projects too, and that's going to be deferred revenue over 10 years or so.
Oh, but wait, and this is where you're wrong, and this is where everybody.
I'd love to hear it.
I haven't read the next sentence. As of March 31, 2024, total transaction price allocated to performance obligations, which has nothing to do with installing. Performance obligations that were unsatisfied or partially unsatisfied for contracts with original expected length of more than 1 year was $3.86 billion. Of this amount, we expect to recognize $1 billion in the next 12 months and the rest over the remaining performance period. That's $1 billion of pure gross margin. So that number of $3.86 billion is now over $5 billion.
Why do we think that that's pure gross margin, though? Because
because at this point it's unrecognized and it's only to do with performance.
But the cost, but the performance includes, like what I was saying before, the liquidated damages. If your megawatt output or your megawatt hour duration is not sufficient, right? There's cost associated with that. But
right, exactly.
My understanding of the accounting would be you wouldn't. So let's say it costs you, $5 to make your mega pack, and you sell it for $7 or whatever. If you recognize, I don't know why I chose math. It's very hard to scale. But if you recognize half of that, you're only recognizing half the cost of your manufacturing cost, right? At the same time, you're not recognizing all of the cost with some of the revenue.
No, you recognize the full cost as installed in the contract. The recognition of the performance obligation is completely separate to the implementation of the contract. I mean, it's basic accounting. You deliver the good, you realize the revenue. Now, if the performance doesn't meet your commitment, you're going to reduce. That's going to be out of your current income, out of your reserve. But your reserve, you don't reserve your cost as well as your revenue. You only reserve the revenue for that piece.
All right, so there's your first clip, and we are waist deep in accounting topics right now. So what's the deal? Tesla makes megapacks, and they sell them to people under contracts, and those contracts have a duration, 10 years or 20 years or whatever it is, that Tesla is guaranteeing that product is going to work at minimum specifications, right? So up front, Tesla can't declare all of the revenue the day they ship the Megapack out the door of the Lathrop factory in California, right? They have to wait until they've performed their obligations under the contract before they can start declaring revenue. So the utility has to take delivery of the Megapack, and then they have to make a place for it to go and set it down and hook it up to the electrical grid. To do any of that, they have to do permitting with local authorities, right? It takes time to hook it up to the grid, to do safety testing, to make sure it works, to test and make sure it's performing the way it's supposed to, and to put it into service. And once that company has put the asset into service, Tesla does declare the revenue for the sale, which isn't all of the revenue under the contract. And they declare the cost of sales for how much it cost them to get that Megapack out the door at the factory. The cost they don't declare yet is the ongoing future cost of maintaining that service. If Tesla warranties that those Megapacks are going to keep working for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or whatever, and that Tesla is going to perform maintenance on them, they will have costs in the future that are caused by sending engineers or mechanics out to that Megapack to maintain it, diagnose it, repair it if necessary, replace parts if necessary, etc. But the utility is paying Tesla revenue over that period, over that service contract period of time, right? So what Larry is saying is the initial sale isn't the best margin you're going to get over the life of that sale. The best margin you're going to get is the service over the life of the asset after that company has put the asset into service, after you've declared the initial sale and the initial revenue and the initial cost of goods sold. Then you've got higher margin revenue coming. Do we have very specific information from Tesla on how those compare? No, we don't. You have to dive into the 10Qs and the 10Ks and dig through the notes, trying to look for crumbs that you might be able to put together and figure this out, which Tesla Larry has already done, and which Matt Smith is also good at studying. So I'm going to skip forward in the action to the 48. Let me make sure I got this right. The 48:20 mark in the video, and pray that the video works. There's a lot of other good stuff in here, by the way, if you want to watch the entire video. I did. That's close enough. I'm going to hit play here, and we will rejoin the action beginning in about 20 seconds. It gets good, and I'll play you another minute and a half, and that'll be all the clips from this video during my video.
Start talking very, very gingerly, but when they see the margins, they're going to sit up big time.
Yeah. Because right now we've seen, I don't want to name names. We know some of these institutionalists, and they don't even line item energy yet. And despite we've been watching this grow slowly, but this jump is so big, right? Is that right?
It's insane. And I want to circle back to how important Larry's view on this is. Like I've been tracking this very closely for a long time. I've seen your posts on this, Larry, and I've like dug in, and ultimately, like I try to have a little bit of conservatism in my models, but I want to be realistic. And you know, when Elon said that they're targeting kind of long-term energy gross margins of around 25%, you know, I thought that actually makes sense. And I think it's going to be hard to sustain, you know, the types of margins like, you know, 39% like you showed in there. But when I'm looking at your actual arguments for the medium term, it's hard to, it's actually like, I think you're right. And when I just go and update my model, which for next year was not showing anything exciting on the earnings per share. Like all of a sudden we're going from, I don't know what we'll do this year, 250 or 270, whatever it ends up being. 273 is what my current model shows for this year. Just with this change, we're going to 458 in earnings per share. So this is Tesla's been so beat up, and people have been saying like, oh, its PE is too high because it's got a PE of 50 and the company's not growing anymore.
Right.
Well, if you go from under $2 to over 450, you're back in super high growth territory again. And this is mostly on the back of energy. This is to say nothing of FSD and autonomy, to Larry's point. So this is an extremely large, like extremely big deal.
Welcome to my world. I mean,
Welcome to my world.
I have been trying to, I mean, look, my expectation is close to $1 billion of earnings from energy this quarter.
All right, there you go. So I played you a little bit more right there at the end from Tesla Larry, but the whole video is great if you want to go watch it. I want to keep this video pretty short, but that's my reaction video to this. Yes, Tesla Energy profits are going to get better as time passes. This is a very lumpy business. We saw the highest ever deployments of Tesla storage products in Q2 by a huge margin. Tesla delivered more over the past 90 days, I tweeted, than they did in 2019, 2020, and 2021 combined. That's 12-quarter period. The 3 years ended December 2021. Tesla delivered fewer gigawatt hours of storage than they delivered just over the most recent quarter. That's big, but it can be lumpy depending on how these large projects get fulfilled and when they go into service. So you could have some future quarters that are lower than we saw here, but Tesla's going to build a megafactory in China, which likely will have better margins than the Lathrop factory, which is in California. California is not the least expensive environment on Earth to manufacture things, right? China is a far superior economic return on factories than California. I apologize to anybody in California who I have offended by saying that, but I think most people will agree with me that that's true. And as that factory ramps up, we should expect to see not just revenue growth, but also further gross margin improvement and then earnings improvement for Tesla. Regardless what happens with autonomy and robots, Tesla will get more profitable just from the energy division growing so much. And those were my reactions, and that is my video for this week. So I will check back in with Loki, see if he has anything to add, apart from just some moving eyebrows. And I will remind you to click the like button if you liked this video, and to, subscribe to me if that's appealing to you. I appreciate everybody who subscribes to me, whether you're doing that through Patreon or YouTube or on X. And a special shout out to my two executive producers, Kathy Kitchler and Rebellionaire.com. And I'll see you in the next one.